Hello traders, how you're doing? I hope you're doing well. So on this video, I just want to share with you some points that can really help you in your trading journey. A lot of times people think all you need in trading is a strategy, right? A strategy that is going to make you money, or maybe probably just opening the chart, finding buy or sell opportunities and making money, and that's all, right? But what you also need to understand is the preparation before the trade, during the trade, and also after the trade. So what you do before the trade, during and after the trade, it matters a lot, right? So I'm just going to compare this scenario to soccer or football. If there is a football game coming up at 9 p.m., what you have to do as a viewer is just to, turn on your TV exactly 9 to be able to watch the game, right? But there is more that goes to it when it comes to the football players, right? Because the football players, before the game starts, they do something called, training or practice. As a viewer, you just have to turn on your TV and just watch the game and go and sleep. But they have to prepare. They have to, practice what they prepared during the game. And after the game, they're going to sit down with their coach and also analyze how the game went, right? So that's the same thing I'm going to talk about in this video. So I'm going to break this video into 3 categories. That is before, during, and after a trade. So I'll begin with the first one. What are the things that you need to do before opening a trade or before a trade? The first point I'm going to talk about is the pre-market analysis. When we talk about pre-market analysis, it's basically whereby you view the market before your trading session, or you analyze the market, you look at the structures before you even open a trade, right? So what are the importance of pre-market analysis? Pre-market analysis actually helps you to prepare for the market session because it gives you the awareness of what the market is looking like and what to expect when your trading session begins. So for instance, if I'm trading the London session, let's just say London session begins at, let's say 12 p.m. in my zone, right? Before 12 p.m., what I'm going to do is I'm going to go on my chart, view the market, look at the structures and what I can expect for that day, right? So probably maybe around 9 a.m. or 10 a.m., I'm just going to do my pre-market analysis. I'm going to look at the market, look at the structures, the opportunities I can get before the landing session even opens, right? So when the landing session opens and I go on my chart, I already know what I'm expecting because I've already viewed the market before it even opened, right? So that pre-market analysis is going to help me stay prepared. So back to the football scenario. When there is a game at 9 p.m., what the football players do is they get to the stadium before 9, they go on the pitch and then they train, right? Even before the game, they train, they do some warm-ups and all of that. Go back to the dressing room and get dressed and come and play the actual match, right? So why do you think they come on the field to train and, warm up and all of that? When they come on the field and train, it gets them prepared for the game ahead. Because when they get into the stadium, they are able to see the spectators. Like we know that these are the amount of people coming to watch the game, They feel the pitch and all of that, the football and everything, So even before the game or before the actual game, they already know how it feels or what the stadium is going to feel, the atmosphere before the game actually starts. So when they come on the field for the actual game, they are not emotional. They have already had that feeling before the game. So pre-market analysis actually helps us to stay prepared in the market. What pre-market analysis also does is it helps us to prevent impulse decisions, right? So when we come on the market, we are not just gonna take trades because the market is going up or going down, right? We have already analyzed the market. We know what we are looking for. We know exactly how we are going to enter, right? So when we see the market moving in a certain way, we are not in a rush to enter the market because we already know what we are looking for, right? If we don't do our pre-market analysis, we just sleep, wake up, open the computer and start trading, you're just gonna be chasing trades that you didn't even prepare for, right? So pre-market analysis is actually very vital for you to do as a trader. So in order not for you to make impulsive decisions in the market, one thing that you can also do is to journal down your ideas, right? Because during the pre-market analysis, you're going to forecast the directions of the market because probably you don't know where the market is going to go. You are just analyzing the market. So you are thinking price can move this way or it can move this way. If it does move this way, this is how I'm going to react. If it does move the other way, this is how I'm going to react. So you have different scenarios that you have actually analyzed. So you can put all these scenarios down in a journal, which is also going to help you prevent attachment to your trade ideas, right? When you are trading, that's something that you don't want to do. You don't want to get attached to a trading idea. You don't want to marry your trading idea. You just don't want to think that price is going to move in a certain direction and that's it. Once you do that, you close the opportunities that price can give you in the opposite direction, because you are just attached to one direction, and that is not what you want to do in trading. In trading, nobody knows the direction or the future direction of the market. So what we can do is we can forecast the market, right? So we are just following the direction of the market. We are not leading. So getting attached to a trading idea is something that you don't want to do. And journaling down your trade ideas helps prevent all these attachments to the market. So I'll show you an example of how I journal my trades. So let's go to this. This was our 31st of July on Euro USD. So this is how it looks like. This is my template, and I'm using Notion for this journaling. So right here on Euro USD, I'll just put my dates, and then I'll come here, because before the trade, I don't know, the gains, the pattern that's going to play out, if it's going to be a win or loss and all of that. I don't know. I just know that I'm looking at Euro USD. Now I'll come to my chart. After analyzing the market, I'll just come right here and then put down the setup that I'm looking at, right? So for example, with this one, this was a downtrend, and I was expecting price to, just pull back to this area. And when price gets back to this zone, this is where I'll be looking for selling opportunities, So this is one scenario that I'm looking at, and let's just take a look at how it's played out. So after this is my pre-market analysis. This is my active trades. This is actually what played out, right? So when I enter into the trade, I'm just gonna take a screenshot and then post it, right? So this is exactly what happened. Price just went to the anticipated area, gave me a confirmation. I got in, stop loss here, take profit here, and then that's exactly how price played out, So me seeing this just happening in the market, I'm not surprised, because I have already analyzed the market. I've already done my pre-market analysis, and I know that this is something that I'm looking at, So if it happens, I'm not gonna be impulsive. I already know, and it's like I've seen this before, So this is just the power of putting down your ideas in a journal. Another thing that I want to talk about before taking a trade is you need to know your stops and targets. That is one thing that you really have to know, right? Before you get into any trade, you need to know where you're gonna close your trade in case you are wrong, and where you're gonna take your profit if you are right. These are all things you need to put in place before you even take a trade. Now let's talk about what to do during a trade. You've done your pre-market analysis, you've been able to catch a nice trade, right? So now you are in a trade. What you have to do now is to manage the trade. So now let's talk about how to manage a trade. I'll start with things that you don't have to do when you are managing a trade. What you don't have to do is to micromanage a trade. What do I mean by micromanage a trade? Micromanagement is whereby you actively keep on checking up on the trade, right? Depending on how you trade. Let's say, for instance, I'm just using myself as an example. So I'm trading on the 4-hour time frame. I'm getting my entries on the 1H time frame. When I get an entry, I'm not gonna go on the 1 minute time frame to watch my trade, right? Or I'm not gonna come to the market every 5 minutes to see what the market is doing. No. Once I get into the trade, remember, I already have my stops, I have my targets, right? So I'm just gonna allow the market to play out. If I have to check up on the trade, how it's probably playing out, I'm just gonna come maybe in 30 minutes time or in an hour time after the trade. I'm not gonna be checking up on the trade each and every second or each and every minute, That is basically micromanagement, and you can easily close out on a trade simply because you are micromanaging the trade. You saw one candlestick going against you, so you left the trade. But little did you know that this was still a valid setup, right? So sometimes you close a trade, but in your mind, you know that this is still a valid setup, right? And this usually happens when you are monitoring your trade on the lower time frames. Because for instance, if I get into a trade on the 1-hour time frame and I'm on the 1 minute time frame managing my trade, I might see 1 minute candlestick going against me, and I'll probably close my trade because maybe the candlestick will be huge going against me, right? But if I go back to the 1H time frame, I will not see that candlestick, right? So because I'm on the lower time frames, that candlestick triggered me to close my trade. So some tips that I can share with you when managing a trade is avoid the lower time frames. Maybe you are a scalper, right? That is fine. It depends on the time frame that you trade on. But if you are a day trader like me or a swing trader, you don't want to micromanage your trade each and every second. It's going to cost you a lot if you micromanage your trade, close out on a trade that is really going in your favor simply because you saw a candlestick going against you, right? The second point that I want to share with you when it comes to during a trade is to control your emotions. Controlling your emotions is really dependent on a subject called risk management, right? So let me break it down. What do I mean by that? If I have a $100,000 account and with each trade, I'm risking just 1%. So now let's say I take the trade and I lose it. What I'm gonna lose is 1%. That is $1,000, right? It's not really gonna hurt me that much because it's just 1% of my capital. So if I'm trading and I put the appropriate lot size based on my risk tolerance and the trade goes against me, it's not really gonna affect me. And I'm not gonna have any emotions when I'm in this trade, right? I can just get into this trade and then, do my own thing somewhere because I'm not gonna blow my account if I should lose this trade, right? This trade is not gonna affect me if I should lose it, simply because I'm using the appropriate lot size or I'm following a good risk management plan. But now let's say if I'm trading with the same $100,000 and I'm risking 90% of my account, which means I'm risking $90,000 on just one trade. Once I get into this trade, probably with a huge lot size, right? I'm gonna start to feel emotional, right? I'm gonna start to panic because I know that this lot size that I'm using is something that is gonna blow my account if I should lose this trade. So my emotions is gonna be all over. I'm not gonna be, relaxed in this trade. And this is not something that you wanna do, right? If you wanna take trading as your, career, you don't wanna, wake up, get into a trade and, start feeling emotional every time you do that, right? This is something that you don't wanna do. You wanna relax, open a trade and chill. Just wait for the trade to play out. If you hit your stop loss, you are good. If you hit your take profit, you are good, right? You don't want to be having this emotional roller coaster each and every time, you place a trade. You're going to kill yourself trading, right? So that's something that you really don't want to do. So controlling your emotions doesn't have to do with, a beginner or a professional trader. Irrespective of who you are as a trader, once you disrespect risk management and you decide to go all in, you obviously gonna feel some type of way once you get into the trade, right? So the best way to control emotions right here is to respect your risk management and use the appropriate lot sizes. Because personally, this is something that I used to do. I remember I can risk like 50-60% of my account. So I'll just get in for a buy expecting the market to push up, right? And the market will just push down like a pullback like that, just 1 pip or 2 pips. Because I'm using a very big lot size, I'm quickly gonna close that trade because I cannot stand the loss that is coming with the trade, right? So I'm quickly gonna close that trade. And once I close that trade, in some few minutes, I'll see the trade just going in my direction, right? So I closed the trade that was actually, going in my direction simply because I couldn't stand the losses that came with it. So if I was using, proper lot sizes and all of that, that pullback will not be anything for me. I will just stay in that trade, it will pull back and then go in my anticipated direction. So that is something that you always have to make sure that you are doing if you want to stay longer in this game. Another thing that I also want to talk about is always allow your trade to play out. Remember, with our pre-market analysis, before we get into a trade, we know our stop loss, we know our TP. So once we get into it, just let the trade play out, right? If you are using the appropriate lot sizes based on your capital, you set your stop loss, you set your take profit, and for instance, the trade is going into a loss. Though it has not hit your stop loss yet, but yes, it's going into a loss, right? Just allow it to play out. If it hits your stop loss, it's okay. Don't just, be in a hurry to close it because it's going in a loss, right? Sometimes you close a trade thinking that it's going to hit your stop loss, but actually it will not even hit your stop loss. It will get closer and then move in your anticipated direction, right? So if you are using the appropriate lot sizes and everything, why close it? Once you set your stop loss, just allow it to play out. And also with your TP, always be satisfied with what the market gives you for the day. Let me compare fishing with trading. If a fisherman goes for fishing, right, he goes to the sea for fishing and he catches like 2 fishes for the day, probably it's gonna be okay because he knows that the sea has a lot of fishes. That day was just not a good day, right? So now the sea is just like the market. The sea is the market and the fishes in the sea is the money in the market. There's a lot of money to be made in the market. So if today you come and you make $100, it's okay. Just take that $100. Don't be greedy. Take that 100, go and come back the next day and fish for more, right? If you come the next day and you make 0, it's okay. It doesn't mean there are no fishes in the sea. That day was just not your day. just go and come back the next day. If you come back the next day, you make 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, it's okay. Whatever the market gives you, you just have to be grateful and take it. Because once you bring that greedy mindset, your trade will hit your TP and you will still feel like holding this trade forever. And sometimes that can actually, hurt your account, because you might think this trade is gonna, continue going in your favor, even though it has reached that TP level. You will just allow it to go up. It will go up, and all of a sudden what you will see is you will just see the trade coming down to hit even your stop loss, right? And you will end up not taking anything home. Sometimes the trade gets to your TP, you close it, and it continues going, right? That is how the market, moves. So you cannot actually predict the market. Whatever you get on the table for that day, just close it and come back the next day, right? You have to respect your pre-market analysis, where you said you're gonna take your profit, where you said you're gonna put your stop loss. Make sure you are following these things accurately, so that you don't become greedy in the market. So the last part is after a trade. What do you do after a trade? Now back to the football comparison. Personally, I used to play football, and what we would do after a game is, when we go to the dressing room, irrespective of the results, whether we lost or whether we won, we're still gonna appreciate each other's effort, right? We're not just gonna go into the dressing room and fight like, why didn't you do this and that and that? We lost the game. What can we do? We lost it, right? So we're just gonna appreciate each other. We're just gonna, just talk about it, and then we will just go back home, right? Same as trading. After a trade, whether it was a loss or whether it was a win, you really don't have to be hard on yourself. If you lost the trade, don't be sad. Don't be that emotional. Don't think, oh, I cannot do this. Why am I always losing the trade? And if you win as well, you can be happy about it. But at the end of the day, you should understand this is a marathon. It's not a race whereby we're just gonna win 100 meters and we are done. We have another game and another game and another game, right? So we have many games to play. This is just the beginning, right? So even if you win, of course, it means you did something right. You're gonna take note of that thing that you did right and replicate it over and over so that you can win more, right? So what I'm trying to say is, irrespective of the result, you really have to, appreciate yourself so that you can keep going. So during the game, what the coach will be doing is, he will be just writing down mistakes that we are making. Maybe this guy didn't pass the ball, this guy couldn't shoot, this and that and that. So he's gonna analyze, the performance of the game, and when we sit down, he's just gonna present to us the mistakes that we did, what caused us a loss, right? So that is what you wanna do in trading. After a trade, you wanna take a picture, or you wanna save that exit. What do I mean by exit? When you get into a trade, that is the entry. When you exit a trade, that is the exit, right? So you want to just take a picture of how the trade played out, put it in your journal, and then go over it, right? That is the same thing the coach is going to do. He's going to go over the mistakes that we did. You were supposed to do this, you were supposed to do that and that, right? And that is going to help us recognize our mistakes, so that when we go for practice, that is what we're gonna do for that day, right? So let's say we played a match, our mistake was we couldn't score, we couldn't shoot. So for that day, what we're gonna do on the trading pitch is shooting. The whole day we're gonna try to learn how to shoot, so that when we go into the next game, we can actually, put on what we practice on the pitch, right? So that is the same thing that you wanna do. You journal down your mistakes, whether it was a win, whether it was a loss. You go over it, you ask yourself questions, because in trading, mind you, there is no coach. You are your own coach. You are the player. You are your referee. You are everything, right? So you have to manage yourself. You have to be able to be accountable for everything that you do, right? Whether losses, whether profits, you have to be able to be accountable for it. Because identifying your mistakes or your problems in trading is very, very important. If you don't know your problem, solution is always dangerous, right? Let's say you are sick, you go to the hospital, and then you just meet the doctor. And then you tell the doctor, I'm sick, just give me medicine. If the doctor doesn't diagnose you to see what exactly is wrong with you, and he just goes into the drugstore, gives you random medicine and tells you to take it, you think it's gonna solve the problem. That medicine that he is giving you at that moment can even kill you, right? Even though the purpose of the medicine is to treat you, but at that moment, that medicine could kill you because he doesn't know what is wrong with you. So if you don't know the problem, solution is dangerous. That is why after every trade, you need to analyze yourself. Ask yourself certain questions. Did I follow my trading plan? Did I do this? Did I do that? What can I say about this trade? How did it play out? What did I learn from this trade? Try to assess yourself. Try to get all these things down. So after the trade, another thing that you can also do is you can compare the after trade with your pre-market analysis. See if what played out is exactly what you expected, And if that is exactly what you expected, good. If not, why didn't it go this way? You try to learn even after the market. Don't just think you have to come into the market, just click buy or sell, you make profit, you close it, and then you go and sleep. Tomorrow you come and do the same thing. Fine, if that's how you want to go about it, that is okay. But if you want to have a structure that you follow in the market, then I believe this is something that you can do for yourself. It's really going to keep you structured as a trader. So guys, these are the points that I wanted to share with you. I believe this is going to help you, going forward in your trading journey. I wish you all the best as you go forward with trading. I pray that God is going to give you the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding to be able to comprehend the market. Stay blessed, guys. God bless you. Peace.